Bridget lay in bed and thought about what happened last night. Bridget thought, I need to stop thinking about all of this bad stuff. However, that was impossible for her. The sisters began cleaning up their parents' house. In the following days, they started to get rid of things they did not need. They sold some stuff online, they gave some stuff to charity, and they also kept some things. Depression sat on their hearts as they cleaned. It was difficult looking at what used to be their dad's exit from the home. Bridget said, it is funny how Dad never got rid of any of Mom's stuff after she died. Mirana rolled her eyes and said, he has always been bad at cleaning and getting rid of stuff. Kelly shook her head and said, oh, honestly, none of us is good at that. Mirana and Bridget both shook their heads yes and said, yeah. Soon the girls moved to their mother's closet. Kaylee was handed something to put in the sale pile. Mirana said, well, I hope that bitch Agus did not steal some of Mom's stuff. If that made Bridget feel sick. She thought, hopefully she did not. I would not put it past her though. Why is she so in love with money? Older men should never date young bitches. What was Dad thinking? I mean, what did he see in her? How do all these horrible women get men? Bridget knew none of them knew the answer. However, she asked. She said, what did Dad ever see in her? Mirana rolled her eyes and said, well, I have no idea. Kaylee said, why do older men get with younger women? Bridget said, well, I wish I knew. There are just some things we will never understand. Marina said, well, I wish I knew why so many men have such bad taste in women. Remember Aunt Barb and Uncle Matt? They could not stand Kyle's girlfriend. And Bridget nodded and said they could not stand her because she had a child out of wedlock. Also, she smoked. Kelly said, I never understood why people smoke, and Morana shook her head and said, me neither. Bridget sighed, then she said, Dad once told me they homeschooled us so we would never experience peer pressure. Public schoolers get other public schoolers to smoke. Mirana said if someone tried to get me to smoke, I would kick their ass, and Bridget laughed a little as she said, well, I know you would. Kaylee said, well, I wouldn't put anything past either of you two. Surprise fell upon her, so Bridget said, really? Kaylee said, yes, I am the most shy, introverted, and non-conversion homeschooler of us all. Bridget said, I don't know about the introverted part. We are all very introverted. Kelly voiced her disagreement. Bridget, you are the one who talked to Olette the most of all three of us. Bridget thought about it for a moment and realized it was true. Then she said, what about Marana? Kelly said, remember that time Dad forced us out of the house and took us to a soccer field? Bridget and Marana shook their heads yes. Kelly said, remember, we were out there alone with Dad for a while. Then some boys showed up on the local soccer field. Dad kicked the ball to me and I missed it because I suck at sports. Well, we all suck at sports. Orana interrupted and said, well, we didn't get enough of a chance to ever get good. We can't do anything. Bridget wanted to chime in. Therefore, she said, none of us has the God-given talent to be an athlete. Marana, we have to be realistic. We suck at sports. Honestly, we do. Orana said but. Bridget said, it is okay to admit you are bad at something. I cannot draw like you two can. Kelly got annoyed and said, can I get back to the story? Bridget said, sorry Kelly, go ahead. Kelly repeated this part, Dad kicked the ball to me and I missed it because I suck at sports. Then she said the ball rolled to this boy. I turned around and he kicked it at me. The ball smashed me in the face. I fell to the floor and cried. Then Marana chased him down and beat him up. Dad had to pull her off. Bridget and Marana laughed because they had remembered the whole thing. Kelly said, I did not do anything to him. Marana said, but you were hurt, so I had to take care of him. And Bridget said, back then I thought he did that on purpose. However, he was probably trying to give us the ball back. Marana cut in. When we got home, Mum was pissed off badly. She asked where the hell we were. Dad told her that he decided to take us out to play soccer on the local soccer field. Kelly's eyes widened as she said she blew up on Dad. She said, you took the girls out. They could have gotten hurt. Dad did not really argue with her. However, she was right. Bridget said we did go out as kids, but it was quite rare. Marana was slightly annoyed as she said Mum and Dad both wanted to parent us differently. Bridget sighed. Then she said that they should have agreed on what they wanted to do with us kids before they had us, and the other two shook their heads yes. As they were cleaning, Bridget pulled a dress out of her mother's closet. She said, I am surprised that Agus did not steal this dress from us. Kaylee said teasingly she probably does not look good in orange. Morana said she is too ugly to pull off that orange dress. And still holding the dress, Bridget said, I always wanted to wear this dress. Kaylee said, you can keep it. Bridget took it and put it in her closet. Then she returned to their parents' old room. The sisters continued cleaning. And then there was a knock on the door. It shook all the girls. The girls ran to their room to make themselves presentable to the world. Then Bridget got the gun. Finally, they went to go see who was at the door. They all guessed who it could be. And Marana opened the door. Then she said yes, since the man who used to be stuck in the mirror said, "Is Bridget here?" Bridget handed Kaylee the gun. Then Bridget and Marana switched places. Bridget nervously said, "Why, I am Brid." Bridget, he said, "Thank you for shooting August." She dropped the mirror, and then it broke, and then I was freed. Bridget remembered him, so she said, "Yeah, I remember. He said we want to celebrate the death of our abuser. Sally, the fairy who was trapped with us, said she would use a miracle to create a party." Bridget thought how ironic that we were just talking about how Mum hated it when we did anything outside the house. Well, we did save them. One party should be okay. Bridget answered, "Okay, we will be out in a few minutes." Bridget closed the door, then she faced her sisters. Bridget said we can celebrate with them for a little bit, right? Marana and Kaylee said, "Yeah." Marana added, "Let's get ready." The girls went to their room to get ready. They put on better dresses. Bridget put on the orange dress she always wanted to wear. And she put on some of her mother's jewellery. Bridget thought about her mum as she got ready for the party. Bridget thought she would not approve of strangers in the yard. If Agus hates them, then they must be good people. I saw that one guy come out of the mirror. I know he is telling the truth about who he is. If I did not see him come out of the mirror, I would not have agreed to this party. Soon the girls were ready, then they went to their party. It was beautiful. They decorated the yard. There was food, there were drinks, there were desserts. Bridget and her sisters did not know how to act at a party, therefore they stood around a lot. The girls did not eat or drink anything just to be safe. Many of the ex-slaves danced on a dance floor Sally created. The sisters watched them dance, eat and play games. A man who was once trapped in the mirror said to Bridget, "Do you want to dance?" Bridget felt a little ashamed and embarrassed. However, she thought, "This is my party. I don't want to be ungrateful." Therefore, she said sure. Her sisters watched her dance. Marana thought, this is weird. I never thought I would see the day where Bridget would dance with a guy, or Kaylee either. Kaylee thought, wow, I cannot believe this. Bridget is dancing with a man. This is so unusual. They danced for a little bit. While dancing with him, Bridget said, "What is your name?" He said, "My name is Brandon." She said, "Oh, okay, thank you for the party." He said, "You're welcome, but you probably should thank Sally. She had the miracle to make this happen." Bridget agreed, so she said, "Yes, I will try to remember that." They danced for a little bit longer. After Bridget was done dancing, she approached Sally and said, "Thank you for the party." And she said, "You are welcome. Remember, you deserve it for getting rid of the wicked witch." Bridget said she was more like a wicked stepmother to us. Sally smiled and said, "We both agree on the wicked part." Bridget nodded. Then she said, yes, she was very cruel and wicked. After the party was over, the girls got ready for bed, then they went to bed. Bridget thought Mum would have never approved of that party. However, everything turned out okay. Soon she said her prayers and went to sleep. Unfortunately, Bridget was bothered by all the deaths that happened. This caused her to wake up many times. Bridget thought, how am I going to find a way to stop thinking about all those horrible things? She prayed, "Please God, help me forget about all the deaths that have happened. In Jesus' name, amen." After a little bit, she fell asleep.